Hi, my name is Jess, and this is episode 19 of Knitting on Sweater Avenue. This is a podcast where I talk about what I've been working on, what I finished, what I'm working on, and what I've cast on recently. And I tend to add whatever I have bought at the end, and we'll see how we go. This is a bumper episode. Happy October. It's the middle of October. My last episode that I posted, like sort of whip update, was July. I filmed one in August, and then it just never got around to editing and posting it, and so then it's sort of become redundant because it's now been months. And then I spent a month. Wow, I've forgotten how to speak. I spent a month traveling around in Europe, and so I didn't film then, and I only had a small number of whips, but I've got updates on them too. And now I'm back, and I've been back for like 2 weeks, and it's great to be back, but you know, life is busy. Got straight back into it. And so now here I am filming an update, and then hopefully I can work on my consistency, because that would be nice. So this is going to be an absolute bumper. I have a heap of finished objects, like so many that I had to look back on my previous video, because also when you film one and then don't post it, then you've also confused yourself about what you've shown or haven't shown. And so I was like, I have all these whips that I need to give an update on. I haven't shown any of them. And then I have all of the whips from the previous video I think I finished. So anyway, it is good to see that, because sometimes I feel like I have so many whips on the go at all times and I'm not finishing anything, but I clearly am. So, without further ado, at some point I will be able to get my words out. But this is my road sweater. This is what I'm wearing. I'm getting kind of warm, but I have been fighting off a cold, so I'm going to try and keep it on, stay warm. I don't know, is that a thing? This is my road sweater by Ozetta. I adore this. This is one of the 2 jumpers that I took with me to Europe, and I wore it basically every day when we were in Scotland and Ireland, and it was just like, it was so good. Worked with all my outfits. It was so easy to throw on. I love the neckline, just the way that, I did some decreases before I did this rolled neck bit, and I just adore it. And it has some garter stitch along the back. I feel like, the last time I showed you I hadn't done these decreases, but I ripped the neck back and I added some decreases just at the top here, only along the front, and I absolutely adore the way this has turned out. This is in Explorer Knits and Fibres Earthy DK in the colour Tawny, I think, and I used about 4 skeins. And I love it, and it's so cute, and I'm very happy with it. So everything I talk about, I'm pretty sure, possibly except for socks, is on my Ravelry. But if there's anything that I haven't mentioned, just ask and I will let you know. Finished objects. Oh my god, I've got so many. Alright, so to start with, I completely forgot that I hadn't shown you these, so forgive me if I forget anything. But this is my Cognac sweater by Atelier Castin, and it's gorgeous. It is in an isager mohair and pasley knits non-superwash merino in the colour Earl Grey tea, which I decided was close enough to English breakfast, which is my tea drink of choice. I love this sweater. I did the I-cord neck version, but for the hems and stuff, I did this other bind off, which involved so I went down 2 needle sizes, and I knit 2 rows, and then when I went around my bind off row, I picked up the second stitch down from behind and knit 2 together. I did that on those and the hem, and the first time I bound off the hem, it was flaring, and now this has brought it in a bit, which I'm really happy with. But I'll admit I haven't worn this much at all since I finished it. It's cute, but I think the first time I wore it, I was just a bit unhappy with the way. I wasn't super happy with the way it was looking, I think because it was doing this weird flaring thing, and even though I fixed that now, I need to wear it to convince myself that it's okay again. But perhaps today would be a good day, because now I'm getting way too warm. But it is cute. And the isager mohair is so soft. Oh my goodness. I've long been a Knitting for Olive fan, and I do still. I mean, that one's just, the colours of that are so good. But I've done a few isager mohairs, and it's extortionately expensive, but I love it, and it's so nice. So that's this one. The only thing that I find a little annoying sometimes is that it can be a bit tricky to wear with a t-shirt underneath. Like here, let me just show, because this is getting way too hot. Alright, if I pull that one off, that is nice. Then I put this one on. It sort of depends what your vibe is, but I think my issue is just that that's not my favorite look, I don't think, with the t-shirt underneath. And so I think if I were to wear this like legit, I would probably just I would need to find a tank top that like didn't come to here, and none of my knitted ones would work. So, but it's cute, it fits nicely. I like the sleeves, they're a good length. They're sort of, yeah, they're pretty tight is the wrong word, but they're just like, I would say they're pretty fitted. So yeah, that's that one. I'm actually not going to keep it on because I think this looks weird. Terribly sorry if that is something you like. I don't mean to offend, but it's just not for me. So that is my first finished object. And I would say, yeah, not a massive win. Haven't been getting a lot of wear out of it. Didn't take it with me on my trip, just partly because I don't think it would have worked. And you can only take so much stuff. But my next finished object I did take, and it's just such a winner. And that is my sole top. This is the sole top by Mochi knits, I think. And I knit it in a Hemp Cotton Modal yarn. And she is so cute. It's this sort of chocolatey brown, maybe even darker than that. Now I did, if you can see here, add a pleat in the back. So I think when I was working on it, I'm a bit off gauge, so I made a few changes to the neckline increases so that it would fit. If I can find any pics that I took, then I will post them. But I made a few changes to the neckline so it would fit, but one of the things I was just finding was that the back was really sort of wide in a way that I didn't like, so I've just stitched it together. So I sort of pinched it. Let's see if I can show. I sort of pinched it and I marked it, and I did do a test, and then I stitched it across the top as well, so it looks like this. It's a box pleat, I think is what it is. It might be an inverted box pleat, I don't know which way they're meant to go, but I decided I want it to look like that, and I mean, I think it looks intentional, and I also think it looks fabulous. It was perfect. We spent half the holiday in sort of Ireland and Scotland, and then the other half in the south of France, and so this obviously didn't come out until France, but it was just fantastic for walking around. And it's just so cute and cozy. Not cozy, but cute and easy to throw on. I stitched it together at the front, so it does have the ties, but you can't, you could untie them, it just won't have any impact. I've just fully sewn it together. And then I think the only other, I did that same bind off on the hem. I'm trying to work out the best way to show you. It's a bit hard to see, but hopefully you can see that. And the only other thing that I did is I continued the garter stitch down a few rows below the underarm because I thought it looked cool. So yeah, I love this. I would actually love to knit another one. It felt like it went nowhere and then everywhere all at once. And I'm so excited for the summer to hit here in Australia. I suppose it's spring now, but once it gets a bit warmer, then this will definitely get a lot of wear this summer. So keen has been for that one. We're still going on finished objects, and I am stoked. This one might be the jumper I'm most excited about this year, possibly. And it's this. This is my Kai sweater by Second Knit. This is the coziest, most wonderful thing I have ever knit. I love it so much. Pulling it close, so it is Sandnesgarn Sunday held with isager mohair, so some more isager. And the Sunday is in the colour, so it's like dark burgundy and beige, I presume. In the colour, I want to say 4372, but I'm kind of making that up. So I will put all the colours will be down below. But basically, yeah, it's burgundy and beige. I was a bit off gauge, so I went up a size, but I didn't quite calculate that for, like, I think I should have made the stripe slightly longer. So it just means that my body, I think, is not quite as long as I would have wanted. But I ended up doing, for the bottom, I suppose I could have just made the bottom a bit longer, actually, in retrospect. I decided, the pattern did not tell me to do 20 rows of the body and then the ribbing, but that's what I did. And then the sleeves obviously have an extra stripe. The sleeves are lusciously long. My goodness. Today's a try-on episode. I should have tried on the sole top. Let me put this on. Oh, I love it. It's so soft. But it's also because it's quite light. It's fabulous. But the sleeves, just trying to show, like, come down into my hand, particularly when I've got my hand, well, it's obviously when I'm pretending to be a scarecrow, it doesn't work as well, but it comes down into the hand. And it's just, I love it so much. It is so soft and cozy, 0% irritation with the mohair. And in fact, this is the only one that my fiance has been like, oh, I feel like I could do mohair if you did that one. So yeah. And then I used some of the beige on the inside because I was working on, I think, the sleeves, but I had already decided that I wanted to use some of this Sunday for another project, which I will show you. And so I was worried about running out, and so I was like, oh, let me do what I can to try and not run out. So I did stuff like that. But then I also lost the plot. I bought initially 2 balls of each of the Sunday and the mohair in the beige, and 4 in the burgundy. And then I just at some point decided I needed an extra one of the beige. Didn't wait till I ran out or anything like that. I just ordered an extra one. Bit of a faff. It arrived. I didn't need it. I've got plenty left over. So I don't really know what happened there. There was like a miscommunication exclusively in my brain. I don't know. Which was kind of, I was pretty annoyed about that. I'm now much less annoyed because it's been months, but that was quite annoying. So I've got more scraps. But overall, I'm so happy with this jumper. It is, I think the color is stunning. And I bought this early on when I was working on it. Was I working on it? Yeah. I got this like silk skirt in like a burgundy color, and I feel like together the outfit is just going to be like so good. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And yeah, I've already, even though it's like getting warmer here, I feel like because this is quite a light jumper, even though it's a merino and a mohair, it's pretty light. The Sundays are pretty light fingering. So I wore it out the other day, and with the wind, it was still totally wearable. And I'm going to keep it on now until I get too hot, and then I'll change. So hopefully there's not too much jump cutting between my different things. I think that I was a size 2, but I knit a size 3 because my gauge was a bit small. As in, I had more stitches than it said I needed to. So that's this bad boy. And that is my second last finished object. And last but not least, I feel like I definitely talked about this one in my what I'm taking with me on holiday, but I don't know if I've talked about it anywhere else. And this is the Mixed Rib Cami by Florence Miller that I have made a number of changes to. So, first and most notably, no twisted stitches here. I switched the twisted stitches for 2x1 ribbing. So I think there were 3 twisted stitches, so I guess it went twisted stitch, purl, twisted stitch, purl. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, maybe there were twisted stitch, purl, twisted stitch, purl, twisted stitch. Yeah. So there were the twisted stitch, purl, twisted stitch, purl, twisted stitch, and I turned it into knit, knit, purl, knit, knit, and which gives me this fabric, which I adore. This is all knit in Knitting for Olive merino, and the colors are, maybe it's easier to show this way, hopefully, putty, rose clay, dusty rose, burnt orange. I'm pretty sure. Again, on my Ravelry, and I'll put it in the description below. So that's that. And then I did the edges in the orange because I love the orange and it was my favorite stripe to do. Wow, it's really loving that fold up. So that was the first thing I did. The second change I made was I knit, so following the pattern, you were meant to, the neck was meant to come across on this stripe here, and I did that, and I knit this whole thing while I was on holiday. Maybe I'd done the back panel, but I did the rest of it. So I did that, and then I was trying it on, and it was just like cutting me off at the throat, and I didn't like it. So while we were on holiday, because I hadn't woven in my ends yet, or I hadn't cut them, I just unraveled across here, and then reknit, and then kitchen stitched it down. So I just followed the same increase rate, and then stitched however many stitches I had, and I'm really happy with that outcome. My only, possibly I would have preferred if I'd gone down one further, and so then the I-cord edge, I feel like it maybe looks a bit weird with this here, but overall I'm very happy with it. And I cut my yarn every single time. Let me show you. Oh wow, but I'm actually elite at waving in my ends apparently. So that's where all my jogs are on the inside. And I did do my version of jogless stripes, where you slip the first stitch of the second row. So you can sort of see it. It's pretty clearly there. But I think it looks totally fine. I'm happy with it. I think it's cute, and I've already gotten some wear out of it. And the fit is lovely, other than I've obviously changed the neck. So yeah, that's that top. I knit that whole thing while I was on holidays. I have no regrets. It was absolutely fabulous. And I would definitely knit this top again. I feel like I have knit approximately one of these, like, even though I would say that I'm not a summer top knitter, I suppose I've just shown you two, but I feel like I knit one of these sort of merino summery tops every year, or maybe two a year, counting back, but they're just so good, and I feel like I can wear them to work, which is really nice, because it's a bit cold in the office. Probably can't wear them in full summer in Australia, but I can wear them other times. So that, I think, is my last finished object, and I'm feeling like I've forgotten something, but I don't know what it is. So I guess we will continue on and see how we go. So my next, now I need to like get myself situated because it's whip time. I have so many whips. I have so many whips and a goal. Basically, it's mid-October. Today's the 15th. I am not working today, and it's a Wednesday, and my goal is I would like to try and finish my whips by Christmas, and I would like to, with one caveat, not cast anything else on. And when you see all my whips, you'll see why I'm coming from. The one caveat is socks. I take socks with me on my commute, and I am always working on a pair of socks, and so if I finish the socks that I'm working on, then I'm happy to cast on a new pair. So let's start there. I have, although in saying that, I currently have 2 sets of socks on the go, so I need to lock these both down before I can continue, and I have a sock needle getting ready to stab someone. So this is my first pair. This is just a little, I love a little stripe. This is a little stripy sock with a combination of Olivia and Oliver fibres sock yarn is this one, and then Sally Ridgway Designs is an Australian hand dyer, and they've got these 3 yarns, And I would show you these balls, but I can't find them. So I have 2 socks. I think they're cute as, and they've got sort of those little stripes, and then my goal was to have a little stripe like sort of midway on the foot, but I've got to do the gusset in the thing. I've gone for I have partridge heel, I think. I do a 64 stitch sock on 2.25mm needles. I do a 2x2 ribbed cuff, and I probably do 15 to 20 rows, and then I've done 8 row stripes. So that's where I'm at with those 2. They're both on the gusset, and I think I just decided it was all too hard. I am trying out some needles that I don't know if I've spoken about before. I ordered them online. I ordered them off some sketch website because I'm not confident that they actually exist, but they are Knit Pro Zing sock needles, and they're like, you've got the short one and the long one, so they're meant for socks, but they're definitely, my chagus are way nicer. But I guess so they're a fixed circular, and the chagus don't come in a fixed circular like this. I think they have the fixed circular of the like mini. But anyway, so I'm working on those 2. They're currently my second priority socks, but I believe they are the ones that I have at least spoken about before. And then I've got another pair, which is much closer to being finished. This one, I just need to get my needle out, cut the yarn off, and Bob's your uncle. So this is a Regia sock yarn. It's one of their self-striping, as you can see. It is super cute, and I really like it. It was a birthday present, I think, from one of my best friends last year, and I've just finally gotten to knitting up the little socks, and she's just cute as a button. Same deal, 2.25mm needles, 64 stitch sock, 2x2 cuff. The only difference is here's a fun fact, I normally do an 80 row foot. So from here you go, so I've marked on this side. From where you can't see that at all. That's where the heel flap starts. And then normally I do 80 rows, and then I start the toe decreases. But I've found with the Regia sock yarns, I knit my dad a pair of socks last year, and I had to shorten them this year because I had knitted them too long, and he was being all polite but not wearing them. And my mum was like, you need to shorten them. So I shortened his down to 80 rows. And so I was like, mine can't also be 80 rows. My feet are way smaller than his. So I have gone for 74 rows on this one, and I think it's good. It looks good. So that's the first sock. And this is the second sock. I knit my socks 2 at a time because I like to live life on the wild side. And also I find it means that I make sure they're more even. So for example, I've removed all of the stitch markers from the leg because both legs are done, whereas I've got the stitch markers in for the foot. So yeah, this one's most of the way through the foot. I've done 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 rows, and I need to do 74. So that one's pretty close to done too. So yeah, goal is to finish these 2, go back to the greens, finish them, and then I've got some other yarn wound up, ready to go. I feel like, yeah, I do mostly knit just plain vanilla socks because I like to buy expensive yarn regardless. But I like to buy expensive sock yarns, and so I feel like it's my preference generally to just knit a plain vanilla sock. And also if I'm working on it on the train or in the office, my goal is to be focusing on other things. The socks are just happening in the background with my hands. So yeah, that's that. Whip number 1, down. All right, now let's talk about this one. Okay, this one's a little complicated, and I'm gonna have a drink of water, so just hold. All right, water required. This is a Scrappy jumper, and she's fabulous. So I feel like, and this is going to come up again, Isabella from Breathing Yarns is just amazing, and I love her. And I was inspired by, she's made a number of Scrappy sweaters, but I am making this one. So this is the Aros sweater by Petite Knit, and I love I think it's a contiguous shoulder construction. It's sort of you do sort of this fake saddle and then continue on. I am doing it at I'm on, well, I don't even know if I'm on gauge. I actually haven't measured, but I've just split for sleeves. And I am using a mixture of different yarns, and I think it is just, oh, I'm so excited about this one. I love stripes. I love knitting them because I find them so fun, and then I love just like having them. I like wearing stripes. So this is a mixture mostly of knitting for olive, merino and heavy merino, and Sandnesgarn Sunday and double Sunday. So we've got double Sunday, Sunday held double, double Sunday, Sunday held double, Sunday held, no, I think that's merino held double, etc, etc. I have this is my mud bag, which I thought was the best one for this, and it's full of different scraps, and I tend to like decide what my next few colors are going to be and then work on them. So I've just started some navy down here, but I've got I feel like in some ways it's like the cocoa bean that's like bringing everything together, because we've got cocoa bean here, 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 and then we've got some down here. But I think I'm going to do accents with the navy is my goal. So that's ready to go there. And it's basically just, these are scraps from my yarn stash, my mum's yarn stash, and my grandma's yarn stash. Basically just things that they have finished. And I don't want to, like, I love using up my different yarns. And I don't want to go to waste, and I find scrappy projects really hard. So this one, I think I love it, but I am worried. But I'm going for non-consistent stripes, as you can obviously tell. So we've got like 8 rows, 2 rows. That looks like 8 again, some 6, couple of 4s. This is like my new favorite bit, just like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then we're going back out. Maybe that bit's easier to show. And yeah, so that's this one. I'm onto the body, but I am intending to work all of it, like the body and the sleeves at the same time. So I'm attached in 2 places at the moment, because I apparently decided not to wait till I'd finished my navy stripe before I just started on this sleeve. But I've done this much below the split, and so I really should have waited a bit longer. I also, for no apparent reason, just like kind of for fun, I've been recording how much yarn I use in each stripe and like the order of the stripes, which has been a bit random. I think it will be more helpful now as I work out whether or not I'm going to be able to get the stripe on the body and the sleeves, because I want them to match. The body will be shorter than the sleeves, but I would like them to match as much as they can. And I just have to, work out how I get through things. So yeah, I'm trying to work out what I've used this for. I think this one was for my mum's Leon sweater. The cocoa bean and this pale one I knit my sister a hot water bottle, and so I bought some skeins to work on that. This grey was definitely my mum. She knit a Monday sweater in that. I think this blue is my grandma knit the Friday slip over in that. I did a Leith cardigan by the Crayabea in this one and this one. That's my like almond croissant Leith cardigan, I think. So yeah, that's just like, it's nice. I really like that it's using up all of those. I feel like this is probably what maybe I should have used some of these yarns in my sweet shop blanket, which is deep in the old it's going nowhere basically. My sweet shop blanket has not had any progress in a long time. But I'm definitely more of a garment knitter. But yeah, that is my Aros sweater. I am knitting the second size, I'm fairly certain. The third size. I'm knitting the third size. But I've cast on a few extra stitches at the underarm. And I'm just sort of pottering along. I have been doing this new thing that I did want to mention. For this one, it only applies at the neckline. Did I do it at the neckline? Maybe I didn't do it. Disregard, maybe I didn't do it on this one. Alright, I'll talk about it when I find one of the projects I did do it on. But yeah, that's my Aros sweater. Actually, that's the first Aros sweater I have to tell you about today. But I didn't take this one on my trip, so it's only gotten progress since I got back. So that's that one. Next up, I'm gonna go with this one. I haven't the foggiest, well, okay. I feel like this must have been seen before, but I'm not 100% sure. The Moby sweater, Man, by Petite knit. I knit it for my partner, I completely ripped it out, and now I'm knitting it again. And again, this one hasn't had that much progress recently. I'm knitting the extra small, between the extra small and small, but I'm using a 4.5mm needle to make sure that it's a bit looser. I'm very sorry if I am repeating myself, but these are the features that I have changed that I'm super stoked about. So if you look at the twisted stitches on either side of this garter section, I am twisting half of them the opposite way so that it sort of pops out more, which I think I'm really happy with how that's working. And similarly for the section in the middle, fold that away so I can sort of focus on it. For this section, for the ones going, which way do you knit this way? Let me hold that this way so I can work out which one it is. The ones going this way, I am remounting the stitch so that when you knit it, it's like not twisted. Those are the two major things I have done so far, and it is just joined in the underarm. And I think in the episode that I filmed and then removed, I did an absolutely insane thing, which is I went to join in the round and then I ripped it all the way back, just the side panel up to the sleeve, to remove a row so that the sleeve will match at the underarm on the side that is the beginning of round. Because in general, the back and the front, obviously at the beginning of round marker, they're technically different rows, but I want them to look seamless. So I have worked it so that they will. So I'm stoked about that. But yes, I will admit that poor Ben, this has not had a lot of progress. Again, I didn't take this one on our trip. I was trying to take projects that were small. I have two more to show you that I did take, and so this just didn't make the cut. And then I got back and I immediately cast on two projects, not even of the yarn that I bought on the trip, but of basically. I've lost the plot, but this, I don't know. No, I do know. It's going to be great, and I hope that I hope that he will get more wear out of it. I know he will, based on how much he wears the zipper sweater one I knit him, which is now not too tight and he loves. I think we'll get more wear out of this once it is bigger. So that's that one. That I currently don't have a bag for it. It's just been sitting on the floor. And now we have some of the projects that I took with me and that I've cast on since. So I'm going to start with this one. This one went on a bit of a journey. If you watched, and to be honest, not very many people did, the video that I posted before I went, I talked about the fact that I was going to knit a fingering weight Aros sweater. And it really doesn't look like I made that much progress. And the thing is, I did. I knit so much of it. I knit it to I have a picture before I ripped it out. And I was going for this sick 8-row stripes of this, followed by, I don't remember how many rows, but it was purple and orange. And it was super cute, except for I just felt like I was knitting a Halloween sweater. And that is fine, but I didn't want a Halloween sweater. I was not aiming for a Halloween sweater. So I was just this is not working for me. So instead, after a lot of umming and ahhing, I decided I was going to rip out everything that I had done back to where I didn't have any stripes. And again, similar to Isabella from Breathing Yarns, I am going to knit, very inspired by her, she calls it her Instagram Polaroid cardigan jumper. She's knit 2 of them. I am going to do a similar thing. Let me get my colors out to show you. We're going to go, boom. This This is the same yarn, so that might be on soon. Boom. Boom. Oh no, this is going to get worse in a second. What is attached to you? Bam. Ba-da-ba, boom. Oh, that didn't go as well as I thought. All right, attempt 2. I'm going to do a stripy, not a stripy. I'm going to do one medium thick stripe of each of these. I can do this. I can do this. Like that. Isn't it so cute? And it's just going to be like that, and they're just going to have like 4 or 6 rows or 8 rows, I haven't decided yet, just like across the chest, like probably like here. And it's going to be so cute. So my colors are the same yarn as I used for this Sandnesgarn Sunday. I do think 4372 in my head, but I'm going to confirm that. Knitting for Olive pomegranate. So I bought these while I was overseas, and then I felt like a silly goose because I brought them back, and I have almost all of them anyway. So that's Knitting for Olive pomegranate. I have some of that yarn. This is Kinross 4-ply in the shade Highland Cow, which I have zero problem with the fact that I bought this because, first of all, Highland Cow, we saw so many Highland cows and they were so cute. Wait, I'm going to put a picture in. We saw a mum with her babies and it was just like, oh my god. I wanted to knit a whole jumper in Highland Cow. I didn't buy yarn to do that. I did buy yarn to knit a whole jumper in Kinross 4-ply, but this is not part of that. So yeah, there's that one. Then this is the orange that I took, which is Paisley Knits non-superwash merino from one of the Taylor Swift ones. And then this must be Sandnesgarn Sunday's equivalent of Dusty Artichoke, because it's exactly the same colour, but it is colour 8521. It took me quite a long time to decide on this colour palette, and I made poor Ben hang out with me in the shop while I sorted it out, and the woman was trying to give me advice, and I was like, I appreciate your advice, but I really do actually just want to be left alone. But I'm very happy with my end colour result. I was a bit worried that these two were too similar, these two, but I think that this is going to look cute. So that was a bit depressing, I have to admit, getting so far and then just like ripping it all out. And then I think that's sort of the reason that I finished this one, because I was like, well, let me at least work on one that I'm enjoying. And she's so cute. Oh gosh, I am actually just so stoked about that one. Anyway, so that's that one. I'm working on this on 3.25mm needles. The main yarn is Paisley Knits non-superwash merino. I want to say in the colour Champagne Problems from the Taylor Swift collection. I'm not 100% confident about that, but I'm pretty confident. And I haven't worked on that since I got back because I was kind of having a hissy fit. And I'm sort of thinking that I will focus on 2 or 3 of my whips, try and finish a few, because the fingering weight one will take a while, but I do think that a fingering weight sweater will get a lot of wear in my wardrobe. Now, for this hack, I did a gauge swatch. Should be somewhere here. Here it is. Oh, with what the colours that I said I was going to do. That was what I was going to do. And it just, so this was my initial plan with this like green colour that you can barely see. And then I was like, no, let me just do it in this purple. And then I decided that it was too Halloween-y. Anyway, but I did a gauge swatch and I measured my gauge. And then I just went to my size, and rather than knitting a different size, because like my gauge is very different, I have instead done calculations every single stitch. Every single time it tells me to do something, I do the calc on what I should do instead. So I take the pattern gauge and my gauge and calculate how many stitches I should have, how many stitches I need to increase, and like how many rows I should increase them on, and luckily it seems to be a pretty good ratio so far. So before I cracked the shits and ripped it out, it was looking, at least size-wise, good. So we will come back to this, I'm sure. And once I get into that stripy section, I feel like it's just going to be like, wow. So keen as a bean, but I took that on my trip, and then I bought more yarn for it, and then I just like didn't work on it because I was having a bit of a hissy fit. But the other project I took on my trip, and I am glad I took, though again, now I just have another whip, and I have a bit of a drama, is this bad boy. And this flower looking thing is the Simple Bralette. Here it is, by Naked Knit. Yes, I think, yeah, the Simple Bralette by Naked Knit, that I am knitting in a cashmere yarn I bought in Canberra. It smells really weird, by the way. It's a cashmere yarn. I am holding it double because it is super fine, and it's going great. It was perfect. We were driving around in Ireland, and it was perfect to just like, you like work these little triangles first and then join them. And so I just like worked each little triangle, and there was like, felt like some quick wins, particularly when my other project was annoying me. And then I did this cool cast on for the underarms. I think that it was called the Chinese Waitress cast on, which is a super rogue name. But I liked the way it looked, and because I don't think you do any other finishings, that's what I wanted to go for. And it sort of makes it looks like you have like, let me see, wait, no, if I do it in front of my face it'll focus. It's on that side and then also on that side, so it sort of looks like you've got like sort of crochet on both sides. Anyway, it looked pretty cool, so I gave it a shot and I like it. So yeah, a bit rogue, but I got my needles taken off me at the airport. That has never happened to me before, ever in my life. And so I had 3 bags of knitting in it. I had this in this little bag, in my backpack. I had this also in my backpack. And then separately, I was carrying this in its bag separately because I was working on this one more. And I got to we were flying home. We made it to Singapore, and we're going through the security at Singapore airport. I've already flown to Singapore. We didn't leave Singapore airport, but we just had to go through security to get into a different terminal. And the person was like, my bag with this project, no issues. And then the bag with the other 2 projects, the man's like, oh, he was like, do you have something in there? I think he thought that I had like electrical probes. He's like, do you have something that looks like electrical probes? And I was like, oh, I have my knitting. And so I pulled it. I was like, I'm not going to mention this. They haven't had a problem with it, so I'm not going to say anything, even though this was using my metal Chagu needles. So that was weird. Whereas this one was using my Knit Pro mindfulness metal needles. And this one is using my Knit Pro non-metal needles. So this one, so he like took them away and had to speak to someone, and he was like, the wooden ones are okay, but the metal ones have to go. And I was like, I'm not about to mention that I have metal needles on this one because you clearly didn't notice that. And then they took my needles away, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to fight with a customs officer at Singapore airport because I don't like Knit Pro needle. That's like what, $10 to buy another set of needle tips, and I didn't want to work on these anyway, so it's kind of fine. And luckily he was very chill, and he let me take the needle tips off, and so this is still on the cable, but it's just a bit hard to see. But I was just like, big dog, how do you think I got here? Like, I'm not in the habit of stabbing people with my knitting needles. Anyway, but I got them taken off me. That's never happened to me before, and I have flown a large number of times with many different needles, etc., etc. So yeah, Singapore airport, you're on my shit list. Other than that, Singapore airport was elite. We went to one of the food courts, and I just love going to the food court at Singapore airport. We had dumplings and noodles, and it was just so good. So that's my tangent about Singapore airport. But they took my needles, so I haven't worked on this since. And it really does smell very weird. But I worked out that I have to work. It's a bit, according to the pattern, I'm meant to work like a lot longer than this, but I'm gonna work less, basically. I looked at a lot of the pattern photos on Ravelry, many of which are very revealing, which shout out to all the people because it was very useful for me. And I'm sorry to say I will not be doing the same. So I don't think that pictures of this on my person will appear on Ravelry, but I'll post pictures of it. I'll try and give as much information as I can without posting pics, because that's not gonna happen. Anyway, I'm stoked. I think this is really cute. I'm not really sure where I'm gonna wear it, but this was what I intended to make with this yarn, so I'm glad to get it going. It's gonna have a really big strap, which is kind of weird to me, but that's alright. Yeah, so that's that whip. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm not even done on the whip, in the whip world, just FYI. We're 45 minutes in. I've got more whips to tell you about. All right, these are my 2 new cast-ons since I got home. And I will admit that I guess for this one, I've been just waiting for the pattern to get released. And I was like 100% sure I was going to knit this with this yarn, etc. But here we have the Firth sweater by the Cray Bear or Rebecca Clow. And it's in red, and I've seen lots of other people knit it in red, but that's because the red works so well. I am using Knitting for Olive Merino in Red Currant, held with Black Wattle Fibres in, I think, the colour Siren Red. And I find it hard to match this colour. And so I decided on the Red Currant. And I think it looks like fiery in a way, which I really like. So if I just like hold that there, I think it looks really cool. That's my gauge swatch. I don't like gauge swatching. I'll do a gauge swatch, but I'm not knitting a full 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter. Well, you need to knit bigger than that. I'm not knitting a 12 by 12 centimeter gauge swatch. I don't care that much. But yes, here it is. I am stoked. I have just joined in the round, like about a centimeter in. I've got a lot of projects on the body. That's where, I don't know, that's clearly where I get bored and decide to cast on something new. And I think she's so cute. So yeah, she has, if you have been living under a rock, the Firth sweater is a sweater by Rebecca Clow, which has this sort of 2x2 ribbing down the edge, and then once you get to the body, you get more 2x2 ribbing, and so that goes all the way down the side. I think it might have been inspired a little bit by a sweater that Taylor Swift wore, possibly, but also it is named after the bridge that goes over the Firth of Forth, which we visited, which is very exciting, in Edinburgh. I feel like the only thing I have done differently so far is when I picked up the stitches for the edge, I very deliberately picked up directly into the stitches from the other from the back. So you cast on the back, you do some like short rows and stuff, and then you knit down, and then you pick up the stitches along the front. And normally I would pick up stitches so that it looks like a clean line, like here, whereas for these bits I picked up directly into, because I wanted that like ribbing to match perfectly, and I'm happy with that. I am knitting the size, I want to say 2. In case it wasn't obvious, I've put my iPad down here because oh, that's not the right pattern, because I wanted to be correct. Yeah, I'm knitting the size, I'm knitting the 3rd size. My own notes are not very useful. I'm knitting the 3rd size, and this is where I've done the interesting thing that I wanted to tell you about. So, as you work down this, I'm hoping this is not a secret, but you're going to end up with a 2x2 rib section at the edge. So your furthest edge one is 3 stitches. So you sort of like, yeah. And with the idea being that you will when you pick up for the sleeve, you'll pick up on the inside of that, pick up the inside of the first one, leaving 2. And so what I do is when I get down to the very bottom, where you are casting on to go to the underarm, I do a knit 2 together and a slip knit, and then I cast on 2 extra stitches. So if it said to cast on 2 stitches, I cast on 4. If it said to cast on 10, I cast on 12. And doing that knit 2 together or slip knit, it sort of guarantees that that stitch will fold under, and I think means that it could, because that just sort of brings that stitch behind, and I think means that it looks nicer when you're picking up those stitches, because often you're picking up the stitch and then it sort of is folding out as well to do the body. Anyway, so that's what I did and do, and I did it on neckline here as well. So it means when you pick it up. I changed the neckline increases. It wanted you to just like do cast-ons at the beginning of every row, and I didn't want to do that. So instead, and sometimes you had to increase by more than 1 stitch. So 3 stitches in from the edge, I had my first row of increases, and then if I needed to do 2 increases in a row, I did it 2 stitches further away than that. And I think it looks fine. I think it looks cute. Happy with that. And I've just joined in the round, and I'm happy as a clam. I am going to knit a few red things. I have some more yarn to knit some more red. I want to knit a red cardigan. But this, yeah, I was really worried about colour matching this mohair, or this Surrey alpaca. But she's very cute. So that's that whip. Do you see why I need to finish all my whips? Even though I guess I'm sort of... Anyway, I know that I only just cast some of them on, but I have so many things in my head that I want to knit, and I bought yarn for 4 sweaters while I was away, which is a lot of sweaters. And then I came back, and then my sister gave me my birthday present, because also my birthday while I was away, which is part of the reason that I bought all this yarn, and also I was just away and I was just spending my money. But my sister, okay, look, I will admit that I did tell her which one I wanted, or I told Ben, who told her. She bought me, let me just buy it. Grab. She bought me some Knitting for Olive pure silk so that I can knit dress number 1. And I kid you not, she gave me this yarn when I saw her on Monday, 2 Mondays ago, and I cast it on like Wednesday that week. And I was working that Wednesday. I knit my gauge swatch, and then now I'm doing and then I've just cast on. I'm doing the yoke. This one is clearly the newest cast on. She's a cutie. This is dress number 1. She gets the acorn stitch marker. And this is my birthday yarn from my sister and my parents. And I am happy as a clam. She is going to be so cute, and this is the color I wanted. And I feel like this one is a high priority because I'm like, at least I can wear this one in this season, whereas most of the rest of them I definitely can't. So this is my last cast on, and she's a cutie pie. But yes, those are all my whips. And I honestly, I want to do them all. If I had more hands and more time, I would just knit more. And so that's really a struggle because I also, yeah, as mentioned previously, like I have yarn. Here's some of my yarn. Oh, let me show you this one. Sorry for my lean. This is one of the yarns I bought on my trip. I will probably just talk more about the yarns as I knit them. Partly, honestly, I'm a bit embarrassed about how much I bought. I bought a huge amount. It's kind of insane. I don't have any excuse except for it's a completely acceptable thing to buy yarn if you have the money and you want to. And I had the money and I wanted to, and then I went a bit insane. But this is yarn that I bought. We went one of the days, so we had like a week in Ireland. We went to a lot of different woolen mills, just like to check them out. Most of them didn't sell yarn or all sold the same yarn, and I didn't buy any of it because I didn't really like it. But I bought some yarn from This Is Knit in Dublin. And then we went to Edinburgh. We went to like all of the, basically we almost exactly followed the Cray Bears Where to Yarn Shop in Edinburgh video. We didn't go to them all on the same day, but we went to most of those yarn shops. And I bought some yarn there too, bought some Kim Ross 4-ply, bought yarn to knit Ben a sweater. And then we went on this road trip. We were staying in Inverness. We drove and we went like up into the Scottish Highlands, and we drove up to Ullapool, which is a town. And then we went on this hike up Stackpolark. I will endeavour to put a picture of it and write what it's actually called because that was embarrassing. And then we were driving back to Inverness, and we were going like back down, and we went into this tea room for some lunch. And first of all, it was run by 2 Australians, which was wild. I mean, I think they've lived in Scotland for a long time, but they were selling things like Anzac Slice, which is an Australian thing. And then they were selling this yarn, and the person, I think she shears her own sheep and then just gets the yarn spun up and sells it. And so I bought some, and she's so cute and I love her, and she's grey and stunning. I have 3 skeins, which is 100 grams each. I haven't the foggiest what, it says 4-ply, 100 grams, but it doesn't say what the meterage is. So I need to send her an email because she doesn't have a website, but I think you can email. And I have come back and I think I want to knit the book club cardigan. I know I've missed the boat on this. I know that everyone and their dog has knit it, but I want to knit it now. You know when I didn't want to knit it, and then I saw a few versions, and then I was like, maybe I do want to knit it, and now I do. And I think I will knit a more cropped one. And I don't know if I have enough yarn, but my plan, once I finish all of my whips, is to start knitting it, see how I go, and then I think I could probably email and see if they have any more. Or like, it's a grey. Maybe I could do like the button band if I just like found a different grey. I could do the ribbing in a different grey. That's probably it. And I was going to hold this with the mohair anyway. So yeah, that's one of the yarns I bought. It's just so cool. I was like, she shears them herself. Yes, I will buy some. So yeah, this might be the longest episode I've ever made. Which I realize it's not that long. At least at the moment it's saying like 56 minutes. So assuming that I cut a bit out, there are definitely people who just easily make longer videos than me. But I think I talk quite fast, and I like to be quite succinct. I'm not a big rambler. Maybe I am. I don't think I'm a big rambler. But if you've managed to stick it through to the end, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy. If you've been working on anything, let me know what you've been working on. I am glad to be back. I am hoping, maybe, fingers crossed, that maybe I can film one of these every 2 weeks. I don't work every other Wednesday, and ideally I could keep myself on track in finishing my whips and not casting on anymore by filming an update, and see how I go. See if I can finish my whips before Christmas, so then I can cast on something new on Christmas Day and another thing new on New Year's Day, because I have no more whips and I need to cast things on. So we'll see. Ideally I would love to smash through some of these. I probably won't finish them all. It's October 15th. October, November, December. No, to November 15th. I actually suck at counting. So it's 2 months and change. I don't really say that. It's 2 and a bit months. So yeah, we will... I just don't know if I can finish. I think it's 7 whips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, do the socks count? 6, 7? I think that's 7 whips. I still feel like I'm forgetting one. I hope I'm not. Kind of for my sake more than anything else. But yes, hopefully I'll see you in 2 weeks. Hopefully I will have made some progress. Finished some socks. Maybe finished a body. Who knows? Yeah, hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye.